Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about gratitude. When I woke up this morning, I kind of started making a laundry list of all the things that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for community and connection, and all those wonderful things that make life worth living. But another thing that came up in my gratitude list is I'm grateful that I'm able to sit here and share this moment with you right now. And the reason that I'm grateful for that is because I have spent the majority of my life with a terrifying phobia of being on the receiving end of a camera. And I started examining that aspect of my life this morning a little bit. And to kind of help you understand my fear of the camera, I want to share a quick story with you. Um, we'll go back about 25 years in time when I was working at the Olympic Hotel. If you don't know about the Olympic Hotel, it's a beautiful hotel in downtown Seattle, very old, very grandiose, ornate chandeliers, wood carvings, all of that stuff. The hotel was in the process of creating a coffee table book. And we hired some photographers to come in. I was really involved with the photo shoots, doing room sets. Everything had to be perfect. It was very meticulous, really hard work. But at some point, my boss, for whatever reason, decided that I had to be in the book. Um, and I don't think I was given an option. At least that's what my memory tells me. I think they told me, like, you're going to be in the book. You have to go and meet with the photographer for a photo session. This is me. I'm terrified of cameras. So I begrudgingly moved forward with that request. Went to work one morning with the sole purpose of meeting with the photographers to do a photo shoot. And as I'm walking to the room where the photographer is waiting for me, I totally have a panic attack and I just beeline it and keep moving past the photographer. And I went and I found a storage closet, a closet, and I locked myself in it and I hid in that closet for hours. I don't know how long I was in there, but eventually my boss came and she found me and she was like, Daniel, what are you doing? The photographer's waiting for you. Like, you have to go. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So I came out of the closet again, and I think I went and had a cigarette, worked up my courage a little bit to go back and meet with the photographer. And as I'm approaching the photographer and her assistant, they're sitting outside of this meeting room together waiting for me, just kind of having a casual conversation. And as I'm approaching them, the photographer looks at me and points at me and says to her assistant, see, like this guy, he's so fair skinned, he won't even show up on camera. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Did she really just say that? Does she know that I'm already terrified of cameras and she just made the situation like 10 million times worse? So again, I beelined it straight past them and went straight back to that closet, shut the doors, and closed myself in and hid for I don't know how long this time. But eventually my boss came around once again and she's like, Daniel, come on, like you have to do this. Like I was the last piece of the puzzle. And I'm sure we were paying those photographers a lot of money by the hour to be there. So I reluctantly went, and I think she could sense my level of awkwardness and uncomfortableness. And she was very kind. And she ended up doing the photo turned out really cool. They did this really long exposure of me in motion in my uniform with a silver tray and a champagne bucket and a bottle. And it was this very like ghostly image of me sort of rushing through the hallways with all this like beautiful scenery behind me. It's really a pretty cool photo, but it was perfect because you couldn't see me. You couldn't tell it was me. So I loved it. Um, but I started thinking about that, and I started thinking about that fear of being in front of the camera and what was behind that. Because I've always been very aware of that fear, but I never really dissected it. And what I realized is that I was afraid of the camera because I was afraid of what I would see. I was afraid of my own reflection. I was afraid to confront my fears, all of my anxieties, my imperfections. That's why I was afraid of the camera. So I'm feeling really grateful that I'm able to sit here right now and to share with you in a really authentic manner and to share from my heart. Um, and then I'm sort of a nerd. I like to dissect things. I like to understand why things happen. I like to understand like how my mind works. So I asked myself, like, how did I get here? Like, what was the shift? What changed from 25 years ago when I was hiding in a closet, terrified of the photographer, to being able to sit here? Notice that I'm hiding in the woods. So I'm still very much a work in progress, but we're getting there. Um, but the short answer to how I got here and what was that internal shift, what I was able to do was to change my personal narrative. And by that, I mean, I was able to change the inner dialogue that happens inside my mind. Because my personal narrative used to be one that was, I'm not good enough, I'm flawed, I'm broken, and I did everything that I could to mask that and to hide that from other people. And for the past 2 years, I had been confronting all of that head on, and without fear, um, and just have been kind of relentless of the pursuit of self-improvement. Um, and then if we take it, we kind of build on that question, how did I get here? How did I change my narrative? Well, that really happened through a very slow evolutionary process of changing my mindset, changing the way that I view myself. And that started with forgiveness. It started with forgiving myself of my mistakes in the past, because I have made many mistakes. I am very much human. Um, so there's forgiveness and also acceptance, um, acceptance for who I really am. For those of you who have been involved in Narcotics Anonymous, you are probably familiar with the Serenity Prayer. If you're not familiar with it, I like to share it with you briefly. It's pretty quick. They say this at the beginning of every Narcotics Anonymous meeting all around the world. And it goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. If you let that sink in, that's a few words, but it's pretty big. There's a lot there. And I have really sort of embraced that serenity prayer and incorporated that into my daily life and the way that I look at myself. And it's been by utilizing that mode, I've been able to shift my perspective and change my inner dialogue to one where now I see my self-worth. I know I am a valuable person. I know I have a lot to contribute and to offer to this world. Um, and it's pride in myself. Um, and I got there through a lot of, like I said, forgiveness, acceptance, and then from there it evolved into self-love and self-care. Um, and all of those things have like built upon each other, and it's taken time, but I'm feeling very grateful that I'm able to share this moment with you right now. So I would like to thank you for spending this time with me, and I would like to thank myself for offering this to you. Yeah. um, Thank you so much. That's it. Bye. Maybe.